Welcome to Conversations with Verdel Jones. I'm your host, Verdel Jones. And being an educator at heart, I'm dedicated to sharing conversations that inform and enlighten in the hopes that you learn something you may not have known. Welcome, everybody. So glad you're tuning in. Make sure you like and share this show so everybody can check out all the great information we're going to be talking about today. So we are broadcasting from from home, but we are on the Strong Island Television network. So we're excited for that. We're in season 5 of Conversations with Verdel Jones, and it's about embracing your life. And specifically for the spring season, we're talking about reflecting on, all that has been going on. And you can see us here every second and fourth Thursday of the month. Bringing you some great guests and some great conversations at 6:30. So make sure that you mark your calendars for that so you can always, tune in to Conversations with Verdel Jones. We can also be seen on Roku on the Strong Island Entertainment Network, Strong Island Entertainment Channel. And you can check us out there, but there's also some other great shows out of there on Roku. So if you have Roku, you can check us out there. And we are on Comcast on the Rewind Network. And that's in Delaware, DC, Wilkes-Barre, and Scranton, Pennsylvania. So you can check your local listings to check us out on Comcast on the Rewind Network. That's very exciting. We're always looking for partner sponsors. So if you're interested in supporting quality content, you can reach out to me at any time. Also, if you would like to be a part of the Conversations with Verdel Jones show, you can have your own Conversations with Verdel Jones mug, and you can go to my website and check that out. So let's get straight to it. We're going to talk about the week in review. With everything that's going on, we have had some interesting weeks. But this week in particular, or the last couple of weeks, we have had in our home a lot going on. We had to get a water heater changed. We had to get a cesspool pumped out. We've been spending money like it's 2019. I mean, I'm redecorating the bedroom. So we've been through a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks. And I thought being home, we would save money. But it seems like money is just pouring out. So that's what we've been doing. And, we've been at home, still working from home. It's been very interesting. Today, I had the opportunity to take part in a parade for our students. So we had all of the teachers and administrators and staff members. We lined up on the streets, and then the students and their parents came through in their cars. And that was a lot of fun, just to see the students and the parents and to see all of the teachers and counselors and administrators and staff. It was nice to see everyone. We were all masked up, but it was nice to see us, to see everyone in person. So that's what has been going on in my life. We have an awesome show planned for you today. And today we're going to be talking about why it is important to be counted in the 2020 census and how that directly impacts the resources that are available through our, in our community. So when we come back, we're going to talk to an entrepreneur who is a community activist, and she wants everybody to be counted. So we'll be back in a moment.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. We are so excited to have our first guest. We have Erika Hill, and she's the principal of Vision Street Research. And we're going to be talking about the importance of the census.
Hey, Erika. Hi.
Thank you so much for coming and being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones. It's great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Good. So, let's get right into it. So this season of Conversations with Verdel Jones, we're focusing on different things each, fall, winter, spring. So now it's the spring season and we're focusing on reflecting. And what have you been reflecting on lately?
So what I've been reflecting on is how to do more with less and really how to better collaborate. While some people have really struggled in the pandemic, and not that I don't have my moments where I'm going a little stir crazy in my one bedroom in Baldwin. However, I feel like I've been able to really reflect and dig down deep into some inner creativities that I didn't realize I even had because I have so much time to myself.
Right.
As well as being able to connect with folks that it may have been a little more difficult to connect with just based on the way Long Island is situated. So I've had a lot of conversations with folks in like New York City, as well as in Suffolk County. Whereas I know if it wasn't for the pandemic, that wouldn't have happened because traveling, I normally don't go past the exit for Central Islip, if I'm completely honest. Suffolk County, I don't. So I wouldn't necessarily, be able to meet or go to a lot of events that like minority millennials have. But I've had now several conversations with Daniel Lloyd as a result of the pandemic. We're able to use Zoom or Google Hangout, and the same with even the Census counterparts in New York City. Just because this is the only option that we have, right? So then people are just more receptive to communicating in this way. So
exactly, it's so true. And we were talking a little bit about all the Zoom meetings that are happening, and they're everywhere, and you can really connect with people that are anywhere. So it has its pluses, but I'm tired of seeing people in little boxes and
exactly.
But it's good to make those connections with individuals, as well. So you were the valedictorian. When I read that, I'm like, okay, go girl. Clark Atlanta University. That is amazing.
Thank you.
And you majored in marketing. So now we're going to be talking about your community activism and your company and all that. But what kind of attracted you to the field of marketing?
So it's really funny. So as a kid, I was really intrigued by commercials as well as by when you go into the grocery store, the fact that they have like candy strategically by the checkout.
Right.
And then I never put that much thought into it until I started working in the field. And then my older brother was my childhood hero and he worked in marketing. So I said, you know what? Like when I was picking a major, I originally wanted to be a lawyer when I was my senior year at Baldwin. And then I looked, Baldwin High School, Baldwin Strong here. And when it was time to pick a school, I knew I really wanted to go to a historically Black college and university. While Baldwin was pretty diverse, I wanted to go someplace where I wasn't the minority anymore, at least for 4 years, right? I mean, watching a different world, I said, okay, this could happen to me. I could go to a school where it's Black professors solely, at least, even if it's just for 4 years. So I looked at the options under Clark Atlanta University. I actually had toyed with Spelman and then learned that they didn't actually have a marketing major. It was economics. And I didn't want to be an economist. And I didn't really want to have to be registered in one school and take classes someplace else. So I looked at the program for Clark Atlanta University and also saw that their business program was world renowned. They also have an MBA program. So you got the benefit of being able to interact with grad students while you're undergrad. So, I picked it and I definitely don't regret it. I made some of my greatest friends majoring in particularly marketing and being in Wright Hall, which is where the B School is located on the Clark Atlanta University campus.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, I majored in marketing too. So, so how did you segue into? I know that the marketing degree, does help with, outreach because you have to know how to communicate and all that. But how do you segue into getting involved with your community while you were attending school, and then it eventually landed you into the things that you're currently doing?
So it's funny, as a freshman student at Clark Atlanta University, you have to take a class called First Year Seminar. And as part of that, you have to do, I think it was 20 hours of community service. So you had to identify a program in the community that you wanted to work for. And there was actually an organization called Project Excellence. The woman's name was Miss Grissom. She was also a graduate of Suffolk County University. And what she did was she offered an after school program where she was able to offer like tutoring services, study habits, and things for kids in the neighborhood. So I'm really good at math. I've always been really good at math, a skill that I got from my father. So that was the place that I picked because it meant that I didn't have to travel far. It was literally a block away from the school, so I could walk to her program.
So you don't like to travel. This is the theme here.
I like to walk. I want to live in a walkable community where I can get everything. I don't want to drive. I don't like driving. That is correct.
Right. I hear you.
I don't enjoy driving. So I would go to Project Excellence several times a week. And actually, after the 20 hours were complete, I still went. I went so much that she actually offered me a job, but I said I couldn't balance. I had like an internship and I was trying to graduate. But I had a really good time. And then I developed some sort of relationship with the kids. So I would see them while I was in school, like they would, walk through the campus or whatever. I did that. I also was part of the marketing club. So I was the chair of community service. And there was a church up the street, and homelessness was something that I was really interested in, as well as food insecurity. I didn't know all those terms at the time. I just knew like it was just things that I just wanted to help out with. So as part of the community service committee for marketing, the marketing club, I would actually once a month at 6 a.m. in the morning, which I had been doing on my own, go to Flipper Temple Church, and we would help prepare the meals for the people, which predominantly were Black males. Sometimes we would see women with children, and then we'd also pack a meal that they could take to go. So they got 2 meals in one, and then the pastor did like a brief service or whatever. So I knew that there was something that I wanted to do. Obviously, I majored in marketing, so I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use that. So I went to go work for a marketing research firm. So I worked for a minority business enterprise. So it was a Black male that ran the organization, and I was a research analyst. I was doing transcribing focus groups. I learned how to moderate focus groups. We would write all these great reports, and I would be so aggravated because we would send them to clients and then we would never see anything. Like I'd be like, okay, did they approve the commercial? I think once. Like did they use something that we said? I was like, why do we do all this? Like they don't really, I don't know if they really care. So I was kind of getting frustrated of like, we do all this work, we spend all these hours, but I never really see the results.
Right, the fruits of your labor.
Like the results of my labor. So like on the weekends, I was still I was volunteering at a place called Samaritan House in Atlanta. So that serves homeless men. So they're able to have like a locker, they have a phone number, they help them with jobs, with clothes, they're able to shower there. So I was like, okay, people said you have to figure out a way to get paid to do what you're willing to do for free. So I was like, I need to figure out how to do this, because this job, while I learned a lot and was able to help him with like MBE certificate, or it's called Section 8A for Georgia and the Georgia Minority Development Council, and staying in compliance with that. I wanted to do more, and I couldn't do that working there. So I did a lot of networking. That's definitely a skill that I learned early on, like benefits you to opening up doors. So I was on a board of an organization for it's called Baby Peaches. And I went to a nonprofit conference, and I met the director of HR for United Way of Greater Atlanta, Patricia Budd, who I'm still close with now. And I said, I'm trying to find a job. I want to work for an organization. I was like, I'm kind of interested in United Way. And she said, well, email me. We have something called a loan executive program. See if you can get into that. So I got into it. I was paid $100 a day to do fundraising for United Way in Atlanta. I became a homeowner during the process of that. But yeah, I did that. I worked at a women and children's shelter, and I worked at the mall. So I had 3 jobs. It was a little insane. I didn't sleep a whole lot.
That's what really sparked your
that was kind of what it was. Right. So that, I was able to do fundraising and go into corporate organizations and explain kind of why they should give and what their money went to. And working at a women and children's shelter at a time where on any given day, there were 20,000 homeless women and children in the most affluent county, which was Gwinnett. Really stuck in with people because they thought the face of homelessness was, a drunk white man. Right. And it wasn't. It was a woman with her 2 kids who probably
the kid. Exactly.
Right. She was working right next to you, but she was sleeping in her car with her kids.
Right. Exactly. So let's go. Let's talk about the census, because the census is so important. And I want to make sure that people understand why it's important,
Mhm.
what does it mean, and how does it impact community?
Right. So the census is important for a couple of reasons. One, the state of New York is one of 10 states that actually stands to lose congressional representation. So
Really?
New York as a state is undercounted. And then Nassau and Suffolk County. So we're in like the top 5 of being undercounted. So
what does that mean? What does that mean
undercounted means that less than 50% of people are complete, like, response rate in terms of completing the census. So that means we're not accounting for all these people that are living here and that are pulling down on these demanding stuff from the system, but we don't have the money to match it because we don't know that they're here.
Right.
So statewide we have an issue, and then obviously on Long Island we have an issue. So when I was at the comptroller's office, you know, we joined the effort with the Health and Welfare Council. I kicked off. We did a job fair at Nassau Community College. We had over 80 people show up. We did several in hard to count communities, which are communities predominantly with populations that are already suffer from other disparities, right? So low socioeconomic status, elderly people, people that maybe English was a second language for them. So they're not very trusting of the government, or their access to things is less. So they may not have access to the internet. You know, like right now we're in a pandemic, and because the census this year provided an online option, right, which people were some people were cringing about, right? So there were people that are from the older population that I know it gave great anxiety to. But for other people who like doing things online and don't really want to fill out paper, right? It was a positive, right? It was a great thing, and the library system was involved, so it was an amazing thing of like, okay, there's a library in every community. The libraries that have iPads, so it was all this great stuff happening, and then we have a pandemic, right? So now we're stuck with the fact of, you're sending people to go online, but you're not able to have that same face-to-face interaction with these trusted voices, right? So these community-based organizations in these different areas, they can't go they can't go talk to people or have them come, to their place in for church. I know there were several people in certain communities like Hempstead that were going to use church in order to get the information out. So when people were coming to church on Sunday, but now people are churching online. And similar to the census, there's definitely a portion of the population that doesn't wish to church online, right? They don't want to watch a Facebook Live. They want to be in the church, with the pastor in front of them. So now they're disconnected and are not going to be able to see that information.
So what are the steps now that we are in this pandemic? What are some steps that we can take to get the word out about completing the census, and how can individuals support that effort?
So I would say there's several steps. I post about this a lot on my Instagram, and one of the things you could do is, if you've already completed it, then tell a friend, right? So matter of fact, I want you to tell 10 friends, because my whole thing is it takes less than 10 minutes, and my mother can vouch for it because I made her do it, and we posted it on Facebook. But it takes no more than 10 minutes to complete the census. It's not intrusive. It's not like the American Community Survey. They're not asking you about your income. They're trying to verify that you do live where they believe you live based on IRS data, right? That you live at this residence, and they want to know how many other people live there. And it's not because they plan on reporting it to anybody, and it's not going to be reported to your landlord. The census does not care. They just want to know how many people. So if it's 10 people and 5 of those are people that are like couch surfing, as I'm calling it, they don't care. That's 10 people that are in your house as of April 1st. They need to be counted, right? When you fill it out, I'm always telling people to go, if you're on social media, then go online and tag 10 people, right? To represent the 10 minutes it'll take them to complete it, right? If you're on the phone with somebody, like, hey, just checking on you, wellness check. By the way, did you fill out the census? Right? Like, you're at home all day. Like, I know you have 10 minutes to fill out the census.
Right.
And then for people that are into fitness, I launched a challenge myself because I like working out. I adopted a hard to count community. So I adopted Roosevelt as my hard to count community. So every week, Jacob Dixon from Choice for All gives me an update on where the response rate is. So as of this week, they were up to 59%. So that means
not bad.
Right. And it was lower when we first started. So that means for me, for Workout Wednesday, I did 3 sets of 41 crunches. So it's crunches for census.
Oh,
And then I tag people. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You could have some great abs, right? And we'll be counted.
Right. Right. So, and you know what? I just got the other day, I got from Long Island Black Educators, they sent a link of census, like the percentage of individuals that complete a census with, like, was a map of Long Island. And it was really interesting to compare the, the 2010 census versus the 2020 census and where we are now.
Right.
And it's interesting to see which communities are definitely not reported.
Yeah. It definitely is. Like, you can, the census on the census site, I mean, obviously to go fill out the census, it's my 2020 census.gov, but there's also a self-response portion of the site where you can see on their site. Also, there's something called Hard to Count. There's a Hard to Count site that was put together by CUNY that allows you to do a little bit more and that's the data that we've been using when I've been posting stuff on Instagram, as well as Jacob Dixon, because you can actually play around with some of the, like, the demographic, gender, the race information.
Like a sort type of a thing.
Right. Like, you can kind of layer some things to see, like, what it looks like, let's say, for maybe like Black women or for, senior citizens, right? If you want to look at isolate populations versus the geography, you're able to do that. But you make a great point in terms of this comparing the 2020 census to the 2010. So what I do know, just based on research from like Urban Institute, that is in 2010, over 800,000 Black people were not counted, just nationwide. Like, they just were not accounted for.
800,000.
Yes.
Wow.
Like, right. So that's a lot
the bottom line is, make sure that you complete your 2020 census. Very important. I want to talk about Vision Street Research. Yes. What is it? Tell us about the launch, because we're running out of time and I want to make sure that people get this information.
Sure. So Vision Street Research is a research consultancy that I founded originally in 2012 in Lithonia, Georgia, coming out of a bad job market, fresh out of grad school. And, I knew that people, if they didn't have to pay for the overhead, they could just pay me to be a consultant. They would. Right. I did that until 2016 when I returned back to Long Island after my dad unfortunately became sick. And while I worked at the comptroller's office from 2018 until the fall of last year, I restarted Vision Street Research in February of 2019, knowing that at some point I was going to revisit the entrepreneurship piece. And, after being at the comptroller's office and really advocating for minority and women business enterprises, I decided, it was time for me to go back on my own. So what I've been really focusing on is working with government, community-based organizations, and small businesses on different efforts. So from the government side, it's typically working with them to do like outreach as it relates to minority women business enterprise. So I'm not going to disclose it, but I do have a contract now with the local municipality. And that's one of the things that we started working on. I'm helping more people, minorities get certified and be able to understand how to get access to government contracts. And then in terms of community-based organizations, it's working with them around like strategic marketing and collaborations. Like today, Jacob Dixon of Choice for All launched a collaboration we're doing around COVID-19. Particularly around the Black population, to learn more about how people are dealing with COVID-19. And then in terms of small businesses, it's really been to help promote them, work with them on marketing strategy and outreach. A lot of times on every Saturday on my Instagram, I do Small Business Saturday, and I was doing that on my personal Instagram anyway. And it's really to highlight small businesses, most of which are in Nassau County, obviously, because it's places that I travel to, like you said. And more of them end up being in Baldwin, because I love my community. But all jokes aside, it's really to be able to highlight the businesses, what they're offering. And now in COVID-19 is to let people know that they're still open. So anything I can do to let them know that they're still open and how you can get in contact with them, for me, is really important, because I want our small businesses, particularly our minority businesses who haven't been able to take advantage of any of the government resources to date, I want them to still be here after the pandemic.
Exactly. So you're having a launch tomorrow.
Yes,
so
tomorrow at 11 a.m. It's
Nice.
on Zoom. So if you go to my website, visionstreetresearch.com, and click on events, you'll see the link there. You can also connect with me on Instagram. There are links on Instagram. So that's at Vision Street Res New York. But both places you can find it. You do have to register before, and that's for everybody's protection to make sure that it's actual people that are registering for the event.
Right. You don't want any Zoom bombers.
No Zoom bombers allowed tomorrow. None at all. But
we're gonna put up your information so people can see that as well. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it'll be a great conversation. I have some special guests as panelists because I didn't want to just be about me. So
awesome. So I just want to thank you so much for being a guest, and I want to just tell you that I'm so proud of you and all the work that you're doing. I mean, I remember you from Baldwin High School, and you're just a beautiful woman and just doing great things, and it's greatly appreciated. So I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about resources that are available in your local community for in reference to this COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be back in a moment.
Looking for a way to promote yourself or business? Do you need a quick and easy way for your clients or audience to see what you're about? Myanmar Productions is the solution to your promotional needs. A video on a landing page can help increase conversions by 80% or more. And marketers who use video grow revenue 49% faster than non-video users. With our personal attention to detail, we will create a video that will help you promote yourself or business professionally and attract the attention of potential customers. 64% of consumers make a purchase after watching branded social videos, and an initial email with the video receives an increased click-through rate by 96%. We create videos for business owners. Authors, speakers, and more. From storyboarding and voiceovers to editing, Myanmar Productions will work with you to create a promotional video that will increase your visibility and generate revenue. Family is our foundation, and with Myanmar Productions, our family is there for you. For a free consultation, contact us at myanmarproductions@gmail.com or call us at 516-289-4947.
Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. We have our next guest here, and I am excited to have this conversation. We have a powerhouse women on this show today, so I am so excited to welcome Portia Ingram. She is the Deputy Director of Community Affairs for Suffolk County Executive Office, and we have Vanessa B. Streeter. She is the Deputy County Executive, and they both work for the Suffolk County Executive Office. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
This season we're focusing on reflecting. So I wanted to ask both of you, what have you been reflecting on in this season? Either one can start.
Okay, so I'll start. I haven't had time to reflect on anything. I'll be honest, and I think Portia's on the same trajectory as I.
Yes.
We've been working since day one of COVID, and we've been working, I think I went 48 days straight without a day off.
Yep.
So we're working Saturdays and Sundays, 12, 14 hours a day. So I'll be honest, it would be great for me to have had some self-reflection and introspective look, but I have not been able to do that.
Right.
At the end of the day, it was about really making sure that we can service the public and what can we do to ensure that we're doing everything that we can. So really, that's my reflection. My reflection was, what can we do to service individuals and service families and ensure that our communities are supported?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm with Ms. Vanessa on that one, 100%. It's just really been about what can we do for others? at this time. And, really we are at the service of our communities. And so it's really just, identifying that need and just working our best to meet it. So that's really what the constant thought has been.
Absolutely. Yeah, with the pandemic going on, I'm an educator, so we just really hit the ground running and had to make a total shift about, from what we normally do with our students. And it has been very draining. We didn't have our spring break because we wanted to keep on going, which I get, but oh my goodness, I can't wait for a day off.
I concur.
Right? It's been nonstop, because especially when you're working in the public sector, your focus is on helping individuals.
Correct.
So having said that, Vanessa, what is your role in the Suffolk County Executive Office? And then Portia, I'll ask you the same thing.
Sure. So I am a deputy county executive, recently appointed deputy county executive. I was assistant deputy county executive, but recently appointed within the midst of the pandemic, I think 2 weeks ago, and deputy county executive for community recovery. So many of the initiatives that I am engaged in are already initiatives that I was engaged in prior to, but now it just really heightens the level of the collaboration that I can have with outside agencies as it pertains to community recovery, and just the continued support of, and I have to say that the county executive is an amazing individual. He is fully supportive of all of the things that we bring to his attention. He listens, he pays attention, and then he'll allow you to go forward. Now, that's not without maybe 15, 20 questions to ensure that you, but he is definitely one that supports the initiative. And I think the fact of the matter is he puts people in places that he knows that has the skill set to be able to bring their particular priority, their particular initiative to fruition. So I really thank him for that. And, if he has one of the most diverse staffs of any county executive, both Nassau and Suffolk County, and probably in the history of both counties. But that speaks to that really speaks to the fact of the matter that he just wants to ensure that he has the right people in the right positions to do the right thing.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yes, definitely. And to that, I must say that, so I'm with Community Affairs, and so we get all the lovely emails, letters, all those kinds of correspondences. So, that's another way that, we're hearing, kind of like boots on the ground in the way where we're hearing what constituents are, worried about, what they're concerned about, especially at this time. And we're making sure that, if we can't, answer that question, just me as Portia Ingram, I'm finding someone around me, Miss Vanessa, someone with the knowledge that can get that answer done and really get those resources to the constituents. There's been instances where, you have people that have no phones. There's still people with no phones these days. And just writing us letters, elderly people where I'll call and do a welfare check, I'll call the police department to do a welfare check. And so just really making sure that, nobody goes unanswered. And we do our best to really make sure that, we do meet those needs there. So.
The local government is so important. And from my standpoint, I think it's even more important than what you see at a federal level, because you are like in the mix of things. So why is local government? I just want people to understand what local government actually is and how important it is to them.
So I'll be honest with you. I used to serve as the county, Steve Ballone's director of communications at the town of Babylon. I actually met him. I was talking to him about the dance school that I have. And the next day I got a job offer to serve as director of communications. I was like, wait, what? I wasn't looking for a job. I have a job. However, for me, and this was in my 30s, what it did for me is it opened up my mind to local government and how I did not know that local government was engaged in all of these things. And it was important for me to be engaged with local government. So I understood zoning laws. So I understood what was happening out of the building department and how you get building permits. All of those things are on a very local level. How you can interact and advocate for with your council women and men, and how you can advocate for with your supervisor. I never really understood the importance really of local government until I worked in it. And that's unfortunate, because I think I'm probably not alone in that category. But it's so important to know, because there's many things that you can do. Sometimes it's the loudest person that gets heard. So ensuring that you have the opportunity to have conversations with individuals and bring issues up, and you might have to be in the face of your council people or in the face of your supervisor, but you get heard that way. So it was really an eye-opening experience. And then I engaged everybody else in local government too. I'm like, you need to be on the zoning board. See if there's an opening. You want to make sure that you're on the planning board, because we need to be engaged in order for our voice to be heard and our concerns to be brought to the table.
That's right. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. And one thing I tell people, because I came into the political sphere from an advocate background, which, you know, until you get into the political side of things and the government side of things, there is a difference. And so you have to still bring that passion as an advocate to the table, but do it within the realm of policy. So advocates, in their passion, they'll, have great ideas, but if you're not aware of policy, regulations, the order of things, then it makes it very difficult to get what you want to get done. So it wasn't until I came into this position really that I really started to see like, oh, wow, there's so many advocates could be, learning, that I am just like gathering all this information. And I honestly, want people to better advocate for themselves, as well as I'm learning how better I could advocate, just by understanding, okay, this person can do this, that person does that. And, making sure that people can get their questions and their concerns to the right people. Because a lot of people have good concerns, but they're going to the wrong people about it.
Exactly. So it's hard to navigate.
It is.
Right. It's very difficult to navigate. There are a lot of layers to it. And I think some people, get caught up in the layers. Like you said, they don't know where to go. So how can individuals like figure out, okay, where do I need to go for this? We're going to be talking about COVID-19 and all of the resources that, Suffolk County has available. But for just, I need to get a permit for this. Where do I go? Just simple things, not even a permit, just simple things. How do they know how to navigate that?
So I think it's difficult to figure it out, because we don't really, we're not engaged. A lot of times our communities are not necessarily engaged on the very local level. So it's difficult for us to figure that out. But, people will come to me and say like, oh, Vanessa, I need a building permit. Can you help me at the county? I'm like, no, that's a town. You have to go to the town. Right? This is the person that you should go to at the town to speak to in reference to a building permit. It's not on the county level. Even when it pertains to funding, many people will be like, oh, I'm just going to my town supervisor. I'm going to ask them for money. Well, doesn't really work like that. And they don't necessarily have a pot of money to be able to fund the various initiatives that you're looking at. So you have to kind of navigate, figure out, okay, are there philanthropic dollars that I can access? Now, maybe I look at county contracts and say, okay, I have a youth agency, so I need to reach out to the youth department to see if I can get a contract with them or what their process is. So it is difficult to navigate, and it's very difficult. You can't really go to a website and it's going to give you all the answers. So it's really important for ourselves that are in government to avail ourselves to individuals so that we can help them navigate that process.
Right. Yeah. It's involved.
No, it definitely is.
It's about. So I really want to, jump into the conversation in reference to COVID-19. So Suffolk County has taken a lead in informing residents about resources during this crisis. And, every day, we listen out for Steve Ballone, the county executive, to see what he's saying, what Plum was saying. I could never imagine that I would be so interested in hearing these individuals speak every day. But we want that information, and I think it's so important that our state government and our local government, the county government is informing individuals about what's going on a day-to-day basis, basically. Go ahead.
I agree with you, and I think that's really what our mission is. I'm responsible for like all of the front facing messaging for the county. So our 311 call takers, I'm responsible for all of the information that they have. And you want to ensure that when you are calling 311, that if you have an issue, if it pertains to food, if you have an issue, if it pertains to mental health resources, if you have an issue, if it pertains to childcare, I want to ensure that that operator is going to have access to all of that information so that when you call, a one-stop shop, that you can call and you can trust the information and know that that information is going to be valid. So I think that's really what our responsibility is to make it easy for people to navigate, especially in the midst of a pandemic. I don't want you to have to call 5, 6 different numbers to access the information you need. I want you to be able to call one place and then we have that information for you.
Exactly. You know what? We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to dive into the resources that are actually available for, for Suffolk County residents. And it could help people in other areas, too, to know how to kind of navigate that. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
So youth the opportunity to see what this looks like and be a part of it.
Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. We are really having a great discussion in reference to local government and the resources that are available. And we wanted to talk a little bit about COVID-19 and what resources at the local level, specifically Suffolk County, Long Island, are available to the residents. One of the things we had touched upon a little bit, or I think Vanessa had mentioned, was mental health resources, or Portia may have mentioned that. What are some mental health resources that are available? I was talking offline about anxiety, and there's a lot of people anxious out there, a lot of people nervous. What are some mental health resources that people can kind of tap into?
Okay, well, that's an awesome question, and I'm happy to talk about that. We have actually a whole initiative. It's called our Behavior Health Wellness Initiative. And what it does is, if you go to our Suffolk County site, we offer programs every day geared towards whether it's nutrition, whether it's towards healthier self-care, self-calming practices. And these, have been vetted actually by our director of mental hygiene as well. So we've enlisted the help of agencies like LICAD. We have our Cornell Extension people leading educational workshops as it pertains to nutrition. We have some other community members that are vetted doing workshops on yoga and different things of that sort. So kind of just, a variety of things that can help kind of create a space and time. It's 30-minute sessions for people to really take the time out for themselves, learn something new, maybe take a meditation class. Our chief diversity officer, inclusion officer, Miss Rita Fernandez. Yeah, she is running that. So we're excited to have her. And, we have a lot of great in-house talent that we're using. So we invite everyone to really be a part of these sessions. They're free. They're no cost. They're on Zoom. So if you have a phone or computer, a lot of our sessions, you can also phone in as well if you don't have access to a computer. So, we are definitely welcoming everyone to that as well. We also like to promote Family Service League's DASH service. It's the Diagnostic Stabilization Hub. As someone, I actually used to be a care coordinator, and coming from the mental health realm, I know that so many of us feel stretched and stressed. So whether you just need to talk to somebody, whether you are in a moment of crisis and it might be a matter of self-harm, definitely reach out to DASH. They're there and can definitely help you at this time. Because again, like we were saying, many people have not either had these feelings before of anxiety, may not know how to identify it, so they're just going through the motions. And so, there are these resources available to them if they do need that.
Right.
And I have to be honest with you. It's funny. She has these mental health breaks, right? So I was just like, I don't have time. Like, my day's hectic. I don't have time to participate. I clicked on it the first day that she did it. And can I just tell you the smile that came on my face? It was a video. I think it was Justin Timberlake singing a song. And he was kind of going through different scenery. And it was like, I needed that. Like, I needed just a 5-minute pause.
Right. Absolutely. So, I'm working from home and we have all these Zoom meetings and I was like, I'm going to take a break. And I went outside and I weeded the front yard. Today I planted, so it's like, and that was my break. And that was a good break. I just needed to get away, for a little bit. So COVID-19 is impacting Black and Brown communities at a greater rate. And I know there have been sites and things like that in reference to testing. So what does the county have to do with testing in these communities?
So really, what happened is when we first started seeing our first COVID positive patients, they were actually on the east end of Long Island and they were in Southold. So it was like, Southold, that's strange. Like that didn't really make any sense. And then after about the first week and a half, then we started seeing, the other communities that it was affecting. And we started to see within predominantly communities of color that we started to see exponential increases in the COVID positive in COVID positive individuals. So as soon as we saw that, we said, okay, there's something, we need to do something. So what we did was we partnered with HRH, which is our federally qualified health center. So that's HRH Care, Hudson River Health. We partnered with them. The county sponsors and pays for the healthcare workers. And we also purchased the tests, the COVID diagnostic tests. And then we began to open up hotspot testing opportunities within communities. So yes, there was testing that was out, but you needed to drive, you needed to, leave your community to get there. And we wanted to ensure that when we opened it up in communities that it was either walkable or very close to where you reside. So we opened up and we have 6 hotspot testing sites, which are in Huntington, Amityville, Riverhead, Brentwood, Coram, and what am I missing?
Is the one in
and Winding.
Is the one in Winding? Yeah, okay.
Yes. And so you have an opportunity to come. Go on.
Right. So having those testing areas, how have people been going to them and have they been utilizing them and, and just so they know, and do they have to have symptoms? Like, how does that work?
So to date, we've tested almost 5,000 individuals within those communities. We started our first hotspot testing site on April 8th, and that was in Huntington. And then we continued to roll out our hotspot testing sites. So people are definitely accessing them. And how we did it was to ensure that the full communities knew that the testing was there. We worked with our school districts. So we recorded robocalls that went out to the entire student base.
Oh, really?
So that they were all aware. Then we got digital signs from New York State. So that we put digital signs in communities saying that COVID testing is available, call this number to get a test. And then we also worked with community-based organizations. So every time I was going to open up a hotspot testing site, I had conversations and conference calls with community-based organizations so that they could engage in the dissemination of the information. So that was the way it actually worked really well to ensure that we made sure that there was penetration of the information in communities. And I'm going to let you speak, but then I need to tell you something else that's really important about the hotspot testing site.
Mm-hmm.
So the other piece was, it's not just about the testing, right? So you can get individuals to come in and get tested, but it's the health education piece that we engage in afterwards. So you don't just get a nasal swab and then you leave. We have health, correct. We have health education people that are at each site that speak to you in your native language. And we have a conversation with you. So we talk to you about, even though you didn't receive your results, in the abundance of caution, assume you're COVID positive. These are the things you need to do in order to protect yourself and your family. If you can isolate, eat separately, let your family members know. And then in addition, you get a bag that has face coverings in it. It has hand sanitizer. And then there's a list of 20 to 30 different resources that you could be eligible for. So whether it's food banks, whether it's information about DSS, whether it's information about evictions, whether it's information about Wi-Fi services and cellular services and who's giving you free Wi-Fi for a child for distance learning. We just figured, if we're going to capture you, let's capture you and give you as much information as we possibly can.
Right. Exactly. Because people don't know that this is actually available to them. And what a great way to get resources and information to people while you have them, you know?
Correct. And then it was just really important to ensure that we had bilingual individuals so that, you know, I'll be honest with you. I go to the test sites in the morning and, you know, you can see the concern, the fear on patients that are coming in to get tested, but then being able to talk to someone afterwards, you kind of see the fear just kind of dissipate a little bit. And they'll ask additional questions. And sometimes there are things that they need help with, and we can assist and help them as well. So the hotspot testing sites really worked well because, one, it's walkable. People can walk up to get tested. You call, you can drive up to get tested, and they triage you. So you have to have some symptoms, but you don't need to have, you don't have to have a sustained high fever. But if you have some of the symptoms, then you'll be given testing. And it's if you don't have insurance, you can still get testing, and it's regardless of your immigration status as well.
Right. Good. That's great to know. Great information. And I know senior citizens are impacted by this as well. So how are we protecting our seniors?
So I'll let you talk about face coverings and I'll just go on the other stuff. So our seniors, we've actually seen like a 56% increase in seniors that we are serving through our food distribution programs. However, you know, while many people are at home, the county government is functioning. So there's people in our office every day, and our seniors, our Office of Aging is on staff every day. They field probably between 50 to 65 calls every day. They're still doing their case management. They're doing it virtually. They're speaking to their individuals. They're making sure they're remaining in contact. Then we reach out to our distributors of food to ensure that there are no issues in reference to the access of food. And I think that that is just so important because you are isolated. Some seniors are living by themselves. Even the connection of the case manager calling them is somebody that's calling on the phone. Right? And that's critical. You can talk about the face coverings, Portia.
So, you know, honestly, like a huge concern with everybody going back in public is, you know, I don't have a face mask. And, you know, when it came down to it, really, you just want a form of protection at this point, whether it's for you or for the other person in case you do have symptoms. So really what we are doing at this point, especially for our senior citizens, is that they can call, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because it's kind of venturing into your territory, Ms. Vanessa. And we are having them call 311, and they can request a face covering because, you know, a lot of our senior citizens, they weren't leaving the house. You know, they're just like, you know, I'm elderly, I don't have anything. You know, I've gotten calls from people that are just like, I don't have the resources. And even though in those bags we do distribute, we have instructions on how to create one, you know, you never know where someone is at. So just having this already made face covering is very helpful. So we have done instances where, you know, we've set up a table. I did a staff, the county executive at one Stop and Shop in West Babylon. As you know, face coverings were distributed during senior hours. So that was a big time we were, trying to get to seniors, was go during like shopping senior hours and making sure we're getting them on the line or getting them as they're coming in or going out the store. Also getting to senior citizen, like assisted living establishments, communities, so that, we're getting a group of people and we're capturing that group of people. And again, if someone calls up, I'm a senior, I don't have a face covering, I have my wife with me here. She also doesn't have anything. We are sending them to people. So,
which is
they
great.
can call
which is great because,
one.
right, because that is a concern. Where do I get this face covering? We're supposed to have them when we go out, and where do we get them from?
Right.
So we have a couple minutes left. I just want to the 311. You mentioned that people can call 311. Now, is 311 for all services? Anything related to COVID that they might get help with assistance?
Correct. So 311 is really the entity that we've created, and we had it in prior to COVID, but the entity that we created, that it's a one-stop shop for you. And the one thing that I'd like to mention is that there's a rising need of food assistance. And because we've experienced a lot of food insecurity for individuals because of unemployment and furloughed workers. So our 311 call takers, our operators I have a process that I've developed with them, is that if somebody is calling in reference to food, it's not that we just give them a couple of phone numbers and tell them to call. We may give them a couple of phone numbers, but then we ask what resource they want to be connected to. And we do that warm transfer to ensure that they're connected with the resource. Because you can give them the numbers and they may never connect with the resource. Some pantries are open, some pantries are closed. So on a weekly basis, we update all of the food pantries that are open, all of the food banks that are open. Then we also, by town, list community organizations that are doing food distributions, so that when you call 311 and if you're in need of food assistance, we have a cadre of opportunities and resources for you. And then in certain instances, when people can't get out and they are transportation deprived over the weekend, especially because many of the food pantries and food banks are not open, we have a process where if you call and you say, I have no transportation and I need food right away, we get you food within 24 hours.
Wow. So that's, all the information that you provided is so helpful and so useful. And I just want to thank you so much for being able to share that information with our viewers today. We're going to put up the information, where people can contact the Suffolk County Executive Office and where they can get up-to-date information on COVID-19. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have our final thoughts. And I want to thank you so much, Vanessa and Portia, for being guests on Conversations with Verdel Jones.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Hello, my name is Maya Jones, and I am the editor-in-chief and founder of Shades of Long Island. Shades of Long Island is a website and a media outlet that highlights stories related to minorities, millennials, and Generation Z on Long Island. Check out the site because you're going to get great content, diverse content, local content, Long Island content.
Thanks again for watching Conversations with Verdel Jones. We had some awesome guests today. We had Erika Hill. She is the principal at Vision Street Research, and you can contact her. Her information's there, so make sure you reach out to her. Make sure you also complete your 2020 census. So important. We also had Portia Ingram and Vanessa Beard Streeter from the Suffolk County Executive Office. sharing valuable information about COVID-19 resources available. Now, in Suffolk County, but if you look to your local governments, anywhere you are, they will have resources as well. So the contact information for them is there. And you can, again, 311 is very, very important number for you to call to get those resources. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching Conversations with Verdel Jones, and we will see you next time.